Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. This video is going to be a bit different, and I'm going to be modeling this train right here is the Sound Transit S700 Siemens light rail, low floor light rail vehicle. So this has been requested by a certain Patreon for a long time already, and I really apologize that I took so long to do it, but I was working on 4.0 and there's a lot to that. So finally, I have some time and I wanted to document my progress so that you can follow along if you want to learn how to make your own train as well. I will also be using the new resource pack creator that has been introduced in the recent versions of the 4.0 betas, so you can also see how I use that as well. So this is the official PDF for the product for the S700 light rail trains. I cut out these two pages, which is the Seattle spec for this train. As you can see on the PDF, there are not many measurements. There are some general performance specs like the speeds and accelerations, but that's not important for now. What I really am interested are these dimensions, and most importantly, this picture right here. So it looks really small right now, but it's actually a vector image. So if I zoom in, it actually will not get blurry, and it actually, you can see more and more detail as you zoom in. That's the difference between vectors and bitmaps, if you didn't know. Bitmaps just work on pixels, which pixel is black, which pixel is white, but vector diagrams actually draw out the lines and the curves like in a mathematical equation. So as far as you zoom in, they won't get blurry because they're just described by, sort of like if you're graphing a function in math class. Okay, so let me show you what I have so far. I barely made any progress, so I'm basically starting from scratch right now. All I have are the door pieces, so not even a window yet. So if I turn off everything and show you one by one which pieces I have. So I have the door, this is the door interior, this is the door exterior, so the top part above the doors, the left door, the right door, and then the left exterior and the right exterior. So that's all I have so far, nothing special. And I've also screenshotted the thing from the PDF, the diagram, and measured out the distances based in pixels. So I zoomed in quite a bit and then I drew these rectangles over it. For example, this rectangle, you can see the width is 405, and I want to make this distance 4 blocks. So 4 blocks is 16 times 4 is 64. So 64 units in Blockbench. That is 4 Minecraft blocks. So I don't actually know if this is 4 meters in real life between the middle of the doors, but I'm just going to like scale this to this scale. So I calculated the multiplier to be about 6.38125, which means this number 405 pixels divided by 6.38125 is approximately 64. So all these pixel measurements I just divide by this number and I'll get the Blockbench units. So I also calculated a bunch of other dimensions as well. For example, the height of my doors will be about 35, and the roof part will be about 9, and then the door width is about 24, so 12 units for each door, which is what I did here. The size Z is 12, and so on for the other measurements. Okay, so I think what we'll do, since I'm recording just on one monitor, I'll have to split screen somehow. And this Adobe Fireworks CS 5.5 is actually really old, but I'm surprised that it still works with the latest version of Windows. Alright, so this is the door portion. So let me just quickly make the windows. I think, let's take a look at the picture again, because the window parts, I think I'll make it just one big window piece because of the waves, the shape of the waves. If this was a MTR urban line train, then I'll probably just make each window just one piece so I can duplicate it. But in this case, the livery is too complex that if I just tile this, it wouldn't look good. So I'm just gonna make one big piece for the window. And then going back to our diagram, the width of this whole thing is 64, and the doors are 24 in total. So 64 minus 24 is the 40. Yeah, so this middle section should be 40. Okay, so let's go ahead and make that. I'm gonna do the exterior first, and maybe copy the door because we already have the curvature set. Oh yeah, the curvature I set to like 3 degrees because if you can see from the picture, it's not a perfectly straight line. It has a bit of a curve, and I kind of estimated the curve to start from about this height. So I don't know how accurate that is actually. I didn't really measure it with the picture. Maybe somewhere around here, but I don't know for sure. So yeah, let's just do this. The pivot point is at 16 right now, which means the curve starts at 16. You can see this is the pivot point in Blockbench. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, this will be the window exterior, and then the bottom piece was, or all the pieces are going to be 40. So the size on the z-axis will be 40, and the position will be -20 to center it like this. All right, and then it seems like the floor just cuts off right at the door. So let me try to Google some more pictures of this. All right, so wow, somebody built this with Lego. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I want a good side view, but it seems like most people take just front views of the train, which kind of makes sense. Like this side view doesn't show the bottom of it really well. Maybe this picture? Yeah, this picture is pretty good. So the floor just cuts off, or I mean the wall just cuts off right at the door, which is not typical of Hong Kong MTR trains. And then this yellow bit sticks out. That's just to warn people of the platform gap, I suppose. And yeah, other than the head, the rest of the floor is just flush with the door. It looks like the floor curves inward diagonally. So maybe we can model that as well. Okay, so I'm gonna name this floor, and it just seems like it's a 45-degree, so maybe a height of 2. And then the pivot, I put it at 0, and then pivot Z 45. Oh, no. So the pivot will have to be all the way at the edge. At 21. So I measured the width to be 21. And then 45 degrees. Nope, -45. Yeah, so that's how the floor is going to be. Maybe I'll make it 1 extra. Or 4 units. 4 units. Probably... No, that's way too much. Probably back down to 2. Alright, that looks about right. And then the door floor can be the yellow part that sticks out. Is this 1 unit? So maybe this can be 3. I'm getting nitpicky now. I shouldn't really do that because that wastes time. But the door exterior, I can also put a floor part, which will be that yellow piece. And maybe that can stick out as well. So let me reset all the pivots. I usually like to reset the pivots if there's no rotation to it, just to make it neater. Okay, so this is the yellow part that sticks out. I'm not sure how Blockbench auto colors the parts, but I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Okay, so there's the window. Window exterior has floor, bottom, top. I guess I'll call this roof, because there is this part as well. Like that. Okay, so that's this portion right here. And then there's also these end windows. So there's a window right here, window right here, window right here. So, because the textures will be different for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All 7 pieces will have different textures. So maybe I'll just call them window exterior 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like how I've done. Oh, also in this train, we'll be able to use a lot of the 4.0 special features. For example, there are actually steps inside the train. So the seating up here is actually raised, while this seating is like ground level. So there's a couple of steps here where we can take advantage of the 4.0 hitboxes for that. And then also we have 2 articulations right here. So this middle section will actually be its own vehicle, which is kind of weird. I'm gonna call this the trailer, and then this is the head, and this is the end. So this has 1 bogie here, 1 bogie here, and 1 bogie at the end. So the way we're gonna set up our bogies will be a little bit special as well. I'm gonna show how I will do that later. So I'm really excited for that. But anyway, yeah, let's continue modeling the train, and then we'll talk more about the rest of that. Okay, so this will be window exterior. Let's do 2. And I guess everything looks good. I'm wondering if I should model this top curve part as well. I think I should, just to have it all completed, including the roof as well. So I actually did not measure how tall this will be. So this is a height of 41. So I'll pull out my calculator. And so 41 divided by 6.38125 is about 6.5 blocks. So we'll just say 6 for now, which means this is about 6 to 7, I would say. Because there's so many curves, it might be a little bit hard to calculate. So maybe 2 units plus 3 units plus 2 units, that's about 7. With the curves, it'll come down to about 6.5. So I'm just gonna follow this math right there. Save that. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the door. Just the normal door exterior. So I guess it'll make the most sense if I call this roof 1, and roof 2 will be up like that. I think I said 2, right? So looking at the cross section again, this is about a 30-degree angle, I think. So I think 60-degree rotation. So I'm gonna use the vertex snap like that. And then the pivot, I'll just center it. Okay, so that part snapped there. And then this looks like another 30-degree. Duplicate that. So 30 degrees. And we'll vertex snap this here. And then we did say it was 3 units. But this looks a little bit weird like that. So maybe what I'll do is make... I don't know. Maybe I'll just call this good for now. And I don't think this needs to have a thickness actually. So if I do this as 0, and then vertex snap this, then I wouldn't have to worry about all of that. So I'll center the pivot for both of these parts. Okay, so that's the 30 and 60. This isn't as steep, so 50 seems about right, so oops. And then this one, that looks close enough. 20. Yeah. Okay, good enough. And then finally the top part can just be the roof. For this part, actually, I don't want a special rotation and pivot. I just want to make the size... I think we set 2 earlier. And stretch that out all the way here. So this is a 17 block wide piece. So I can actually vertex snap. I reset the pivots for that. I can vertex snap this one to this piece and then set the pivot to something nice like that. See, so this piece has nice numbers and this piece is the only one with weird numbers, and we can stretch this out so that there is overlap for the pieces, because we won't see this anyway. They'll be inside. Okay, I kind of like the look of this for the train, and it looks pretty accurate, I would say. Yep. Alright. I'm happy with this. So now we can duplicate roof 1, 2, 3, 4 to my window as well. Alright, so this just needs to be 40 blocks. Like that. And then my door exterior, I can hide that. The door, that's the interior. But, so the exterior is done now. Let's see what the window looks like. Okay, that is perfect. Alright. That looks good. Now, duplicate that. So window exterior 1 will be basically the same thing except that this will be 68. 68 minus 12 for the door would be 56. Is that right? 56. And negative 28, just to center it. But it doesn't really matter because in the resource pack creator we can adjust the positioning too. Okay. So we have our window exteriors. Number 1. Make sure all of them don't have pivots. Number 1, number 2, number 3. Okay. So number 3 would be this one. So this already measured out to be 52. (52) divided by 2 is 26. Okay. And then window 4 will be the same as window 2, like same size. And then 5 would be the same as 1. Perfect. 1, 2. Oh, I forgot this part. All right. This is where the bicycles are stored. And there's also a 2-seater here too. So it alternates between bicycle storage and 2-seater. So 16 for this. So I did these wrong. So this should be 7 and 6 and 4. So number 5 would be 16, negative 8, and same for number 3. So let's do another check. Number 1, 56. Number 2, 40. Number 3, 16. Number 4, 52. Number 5, 16, 40, 56. I think that is correct. All right. That's all the window pieces. Now what do we do? Let's see. Looks like the car connection. We could make some walls, or we can start modeling the interior too. Let's do that. I did take a whole bunch of pictures of the trains as well when they first came into service, and I plan to use those textures. So, let's see. The floor to the door here actually has a slight slope, but I think that slope is way too small for me to model. So I'm just not going to do it. And as I talked about, we have this step here. And I'm just going to assume that all 3 steps are equidistant, or like the same height. And I don't think this PDF actually has very detailed interior. So it has the seat layouts, but it doesn't have the elevation, so I can't tell how big this step is. So I just have to estimate. Okay, so for the inner door, this part right here, right now we only have the door piece, and I think what we can do is, well, I can model these pulls on each side of the door, and then the top part. That's about it though, because these panes should belong to these window parts, I think. All right. So yeah, let's get to it. So what I'll do is copy the piece from the door because the slope is already there. So these two, copy and paste. Bottom one, I guess. And then the way we resize this, we have to be a bit careful. I'm also wondering, the doors, yeah, the doors don't open all the way. So there's about maybe 1 or 2 units. I'll say 2 units. I think there's a 2-unit space here from the line of the door and how far the door actually opens. So the door is 12 blocks. The door itself is 12 blocks wide, but it only opens to about 10 blocks. When I say blocks, I mean units. So, okay, so move this here, and then resize this so we have 2 blocks of space. And we'll take a look at the interior again. Maybe I should just start opening these in new tabs so I don't lose them. Okay, so I'm assuming this is 2 by 2. It looks like a 2 by 2. And then the other pull will be 2 more blocks as well. Okay, so this is 2 by 2 right now. I'm gonna call this bottom 3 actually, so bottom 4 would be about like that. So in total it'll be about 4 blocks. Actually, that seems way too big. So maybe the cars are pretty noisy outside today. 1 by 2? Can't really tell from this picture too. Is this a straight line? No, it has a bit of a curvature. Yeah, I can't tell. Maybe it's time to pull up my pictures. Alright, so this is the day, 18th of May 2021, where I was literally standing at the station waiting for almost an hour for the new train to come through, because there's only one new train in service on that day when they were rolling it out. So I got a lot of good pictures as well in terms of textures. So yeah, that was before Northgate Station was even open. Isn't that crazy? It's a long time ago. Okay, so I'm looking at the door, right? I took better pictures than Google. So it is about equal, but I don't know if this is 2 blocks or 1 block. So using this as a guide, so if we assume this is 10, so well, I guess it's about 2 blocks. Yeah. So using the screws as a guide, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not really, but kind of. Yeah. I'm just gonna make it 2. I don't think I should worry about it too much. So 2 by 2 and then an extra unit should be okay. Yeah, okay. Doesn't matter too much. I am just going to stick with this. Okay, cool. I'm gonna reset the pivots just because it looks nicer that way. And then copy this. Oh, I guess we already copied it. 1, 2, and 1. There we go. This one will be top 3, and then top 4. Would be an extra block this way. Okay, so duplicate these. This will be top 1 and top 2. And this would be going to the opposite side. I'm resetting pivot Z because it doesn't matter where that is. Because it's only rotated in the Z direction, so wherever the pivot is along the Z axis, it's going to rotate in the same way. Okay, duplicate this. And drag that here. Perfect. That's our door. The pillars right here. And then the top part. Let's see if I have good pictures of the top part. It sticks out a little bit on the end. And there's a diagonal that curves up. It's crazy how I can get so many good photos of like an almost empty train. Like I think I got a whole car to myself. Okay, you can really see the curve here, which is good. So what I'm gonna do is to draw this bottom block first, I think. Because this goes all the way to the door as well. So if there's a picture of the doors open, I think this is about a 2 block drop as well for the inside. So that's what I will do as well. So I'll call this roof 1. Reset all the pivots and rotations. So this will be the block right above the doorway. So maybe I'll do it like that. So the door ends at about this point. So I'm gonna go 2 more down. Just like that. And then come out a little bit. Yeah. Like that. Okay. So maybe about 1 block in front of the far pole. And then we can start curving upwards. So I'm intentionally making this block thick instead of like 0 height like this. Oh, right now is it? Yeah, right now it's 2 blocks. Because I'm making this intentionally with a height, because if the doors are open like this, we want this part to be textured as well. I don't want there to be a hole. So I duplicate this, pull this piece out a little, and now this can have 0. Maybe decrease the size by 1. I'm gonna set the pivot to here for right now. And then the rotation. Negative 30? Is that too much? I don't know. Let's just finish the whole thing first. And then we can adjust the numbers. Oh, what did I just do? That looks not bad. Actually, the way I like to do these rotations is the other way around. So let me reset this and I'll explain what I'm talking about. So because this will have the destination display, so this is the bottom face of the cube right now. So instead I want it to be the front face of the cube that gets rotated down. Like that, I think. Yeah, I want it to rotate this way so that the front of the display can be facing outwards, not the bottom of the cube, if that makes sense. Alright, so this piece has 60 degrees, and this has 0 right now. But I'm going to make that 30. And vertex snap that to there for now. I like using 30 and 60 degrees just because they're a bit special. If you know trigonometry, 30 and 60 degrees have a nice sine and cosine values. So it's easier to line up blocks. So I'll make the 4th piece as well. This one will have no rotation. So I'm going to reset all the... Oh, that's too much resetting. Alright, so this is approximately where this ends. So I'll vertex snap that and then put the pivot here so that these are all nice round numbers. There's a little bit of overlap here, but this overlap should be symmetrical. Alright, so this will be our destination kind of block. And let's turn on our door exterior to see how much space we have. We still have a lot of space. Is this even right? Or is the display way too small? Let's take a look. Compared to this. No, that's about right. Maybe the roof is just really thick. I can never tell. I'm pretty satisfied with this though, so maybe I'll just leave it for now. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, is the block sticks out from the sides. Oh, this is a better picture. So if we do 2 units, 2 units, this is also about 2 units that it sticks out. This is me. You can see me in the reflection taking pictures. Okay, so this sticks out 2 blocks, which means 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 32 and 16. That's good. And because this is a curved surface, I would want to make these at least 1 or 2 blocks thick so that we get this wall as well just for free. Because if we just make a flat surface on this side, we will have to make the texture curve, which will be jagged. But instead, if we do this, then it will follow the curve perfectly. So we can texture this face. If we do it an exact same color, then there won't be any texture fighting. Alright, so the bottom part also sticks out, but only maybe like 1 unit out. So I'm gonna pull this back, and this should actually be roof 2, but yeah. There we go, so that sticks out. This can pull down 1 unit, doesn't really matter. I like to reset the pivots every time I do something. This doesn't need a pivot because it has 0 rotation. Okay, that looks really clean. Now, maybe I'll just put all the parts in before I rename stuff, so I don't have to keep changing it. Now for the other piece, we're gonna have a 45-degree angle here. So I'm gonna put my pivot right here and then adjust the rotation. I think it's pretty much 45 from these pictures. And that goes to... Oh, we only have 3 blocks to work with here. Actually, no. Yeah, because the window will start where these doors are, because these are plug doors. I'm just designing this so this is flush all the way through. So something like this should be fine. Alright. So this piece doesn't actually need to go all the way. It can just be up to here, really. And then there's a tiny little hole right here, so this pole should go up 1 more. And then I'll duplicate this block. Where did it go? Here. There we are. Okay, cool. This looks very smooth. Is that right? I feel like this should stick out a little bit more. So maybe one more out. Which means these will have to go like that, like that. So pull down the pivot point and the position. Like that. Yeah. Again, it's hard to tell, but I think that looks better though. Okay. One final thing is the walls on both sides. So reset the rotations, and this will have 0 size this way. And just to fill in the sides so that we can texture it. Like that. Cool. So now we can texture this face. And we can do a jagged edge here. And then these slopes, these faces will cover that up nicely. Cool. Duplicate that and put that on the other side. This doesn't need a pivot also. Alright. The destination looks good to me. And now we can work on the interior roof as well. But before I do that, I want to do the same. Actually, I'm gonna fix my pieces first. So roof 1, roof 2. This should be roof 1A, really. Because these are just the oddball side pieces. Roof 1, yeah. 1A, 1B, 2. I'll just call these roof sides. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm thinking maybe making this 1 block higher. Like that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool, the door is looking good right now. Also, before we were having to worry about working with details and making the game not render the details when the player is too far from the vehicle, just for lag reduction. But due to the new way that models are being loaded and rendered, the performance is better in 4.0, so we don't have to worry about these small pieces and hiding these in a separate group. So we can all bunch these together in the door part, which is nice. Thanks to Nemo for that fix again. Don't know what I'll do without him. He's helped so much with mod development. And Alex as well. If there's a gap right here, then I think this will be just okay. No, there's a little gap here. Okay, let's actually just make the wall first, and then we'll see. So I'm gonna use window exterior 1 and make a copy of that. Usually I put the windows like above the doors. So maybe I'll do that right now. Just a habit thing, doesn't matter at all. Okay, window 1. This will be window the interior. So what do we have? Let me turn off the door piece first and work on the window now. So I'm going to delete the floor and actually bring the floor in from the door piece. Just so that we can get an accurate measurement. So this is 56. Actually, I feel like I should have started with window 2. Because window 2 actually is ground level. Okay, so window 2 is 40, so let me just change these to 40. Okay, there we go. So the floor, bottom, I will give this some thickness. And then the roof will look different now. So the window goes quite high. And so at the end of the window is where it starts curving. So about the same height as the doors, I think. So let's door left exterior, for example. Yeah, so after this, the roof should start curving. I wish there was a collapse all button. I don't want to bother with the settings right now, but it would be really helpful if there was an expand all, collapse all, show all, hide all for all these pieces. If somebody knows how to do that, please let me know in the comments. That would be really helpful. All right. So why does this start at roof 3, 4, 5, 6? 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's really annoying. When I copied each of these parts, Blockbench just automatically renamed everything. Okay, I'm not gonna bother with that right now. Instead, let me see how the roof goes on the inside. Oh, this is a good picture of that. Because we can really see the curve. Not this curve, but this inside curve. I guess this is the best picture. So I'm gonna put about 2 units. Or 1 unit. 1 unit a flat. Okay. 1 unit of flat. Like that. Reset the pivots and move this piece. I am going to extend this 1 unit. And let's see how this intersects. If there's a tiny gap here, yes, there is a tiny gap. Technically, you can't really see it, but I want to make this more professional, so I will cover it like that. Alright, so that's the 1 unit sticking out, and then we have sort of a 30-degree slope. Maybe a 30, and then a 15. So let me vertex snap this over here first. And vertex snap this. So 0 degrees would be like that. And I want this to be the bottom of the cube. So something like that. And then this is the actual roof of it, can come down. Like that. Okay, just moving these pieces around, and then this can be -15. Okay, the curve ends about here, so not that far. I can't tell if I'm doing this right. So maybe pull this down 1 unit. And 1 more. No, that's too low for the ceiling. Something like this would be good. So let's see how these join up. Let's see, zoom in. I can't tell if that overlaps, so I'll just do 1 more to be safe. Okay, this is my general roof shape. I think I would really need to reflect this to the other side to get an estimate of how that would look. So I'm gonna delete this right part. I'm just showing this right now to get an idea of how that looks. This is much wider. So maybe what I had earlier was good. So make this 1 more, make this down 1, down, down, out 1 more. So maybe -20? No, 30 was okay. If I pull this back, that's too much. Okay. So this overlaps this way. Let's test this again. Flip X. I think that looks more like it. Yeah. That looks more like the curve. And remember, we're looking at that other line right there, which is kind of hard to see. Oh, what is this picture? Oh, just the end part. You can tell that I took these pictures with modeling the train in mind. Oh, actually, this ceiling curves down, kind of like an MLR or an M train. But in general, this curve looks good. Just make that middle part dip down, I guess. For the vents. So we have a little bit for the light, curve down. I'm just gonna do one block for this. $45. Yep. Vertex snap here. Oh no, that's not 45 at all. More like 20 degrees. Okay, something like that. And then I'll snap the pivot to here so that these are all nice numbers. And a little bit sticking out is perfect. All right. I like this. And I think that is pretty accurate. Let's just try one more time and take a look at the reflection as well. Okay, so the middle needs to be wider. So 5 and 5 and 5. This can go down 1. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. And the light, that looks pretty good for the width of the light. Alright, I'm not gonna modify this much anymore. I'm happy with the shape of the roof. Cool. So now that we have our window roof set up, I'm gonna show my door again. And, ooh, this is way too high now. But it also goes right up to the light. See if that's correct. Okay, so it needs to be smaller. Go to about twice the width of the light. And then curve. Okay, that's okay. No problem. So, I would say the light is about 2 units. So, 1, 2. Oh, that's a lot. Okay, let's hide these. Oops, hide these 2 for now. And then this can 15. And then this can go down 1. One, 2, 1, 2, down 1. Oh. Oh. There we go. Yeah, if we just set up something like this. Increase the size, even though it overlaps right now, it's okay, because we can texture it so that the texture cuts off right here. And same for this face. So even though it looks kind of weird right now, when we texture it, it should look fine. So I'm not too worried. Alright, so if the front display looks like that, also, I think I did this a little bit wrong, so like that. Oh wait, what did I do? 18, 18. Okay. Yeah, something like this, I think. Maybe... Maybe how I had it was better. No. Because this is smaller. Oh wait, no, but we're also doing it in relation to this. Okay. Never mind. I'll keep it like this. There's a balance to how detailed I can go with the resolution I have to work with here. So I know that there's a little space here technically, but the diagonal goes all the way out to here. So maybe the solution is just to lower this whole thing 1. Actually, I think that's the most logical thing to do. So all of this should go down 1 block. I know this looks really tedious, but that's kind of the key to making a good model, is just patience. Patience and attention to detail. Okay. Like that. Yeah, I think I move everything down now. Cool. Now I'll turn on the sides. Just make sure I have these gaps covered. I usually don't prefer using half block increments if I can help it. I don't know, maybe it's just it's a personal preference. All right. I think the front display looks okay, like. How far is this above the ground? 32. That's exactly 2 blocks from the ground. Nice. I do think that this is a little bit higher, like here. No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I am happy with this, and I am going to call this part good. Yep. Okay. Let's wrap this up. So the roof, copy this over to the door. Oh. I'm gonna call this the display, even though it's not an electronic display. I wonder if there's a way to bulk rename these, but it's okay. Oops. Alright, so display left and right is basically this piece, this piece. Oh! I didn't adjust this piece yet. Good thing I checked. Yeah, there we go. Okay, save. I'll be really sad if I didn't save and then all my work disappears. Alright. What else do we have here? Yeah, I was copying the roof over. So turn off this window because this roof is going to be the door part. And we'll respect the sizing of this. So this is going to be 24. And I feel like there are some pieces of the roof that we can delete and it'll be okay. For example, 3, 4, and 5 can be shortened. Yeah, 5 can be, no, yeah, 5 can be shortened. Wait, I can't tell if, yeah, there we go. Okay, so 3 and 4 can be deleted. Perfect. That's the door part done. I think that's good. Cool. Okay, actually making pretty good progress. Now, what should we do next? I guess we can finish up this window part because there are some seats and handrails to add. So I am pretty familiar with the layout of this. 2 chairs and wheelchair chairs. Maybe I'll just make the seats folded up just for simplicity. Or not simplicity, just for variety. So there's more space for people to stand. Because I think for the London Underground 95 stock, I made the seats folded up as well for the wheelchair part. So I'll do the same here. Okay, so let's see if there's anything missing for the door. I'll do the handrails later, maybe. Alright, door part. So this is part of the window 2. And the window 2 actually extends out to here. So we'll need to remember that there's a 2-block gap right here. So if I Okay, this will be seat back. I'm kind of wondering if I should make all these parts common. So make each pair of seats just stand alone. Like make a pair of seats stand alone. Other than these wheelchair seats, those can be just modeled into here. But like if these are standalone, then I can just copy this here and all the other seats back here as well. I'm also probably not going to model the heat vents here, the heaters. I'll just make that flush with the wall, doesn't really matter. And yeah, so let me make these first. I think I've been making the seats 6 blocks each. Technically, we do have this view right here, top down. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 seats can fill this. So this is about 20 blocks. So about 8 blocks for each seat. That's quite wide. Actually, a good measurement would be this middle section as well. This middle section can fit 7 seats. With maybe like a 2-block padding on each side. So 7 seats times 7 will be 49. So that's 3 left over. Yeah, so 6 to 7. 7 units per chair would be perfect. Okay. Well, yeah, 49. Okay, let's just stick with that. So, which means this would be 14. Oops. 14 blocks. And like I mentioned earlier, there will be a gap, a 2-block gap from the edge. So 1, 2. And how many blocks up? Not sure. So this looks like about a square, so what if I just did 14? Like that. And then make this come down like that. Okay, let me make the seat back 2 first. I guess I shouldn't be so preoccupied about getting the sizing perfectly. Because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter as much as getting the other dimensions right. So just to get this out of the way, I am going to make the seats first. Okay, so I'll make the seat bottoms actually. Okay. I'm not talking very much because I'm thinking. So this whole thing is diagonal as well. Something like this. How many blocks off the ground is this? 4? I think the seat bottoms is a good size. 6 by 7. But for the tops, I'm gonna make the vertex, snap somewhere here, and then rotate this. Looks about like 10 degrees actually. It's quite steep, the chair. Okay. So that's the right height, I think. So this will be the seat top, like the handrail part. I know that not all the seats have handrails on top of them, but for simplicity, I'll just do it for all. Like these have handrails, except the last row. All right. I know I said I wouldn't do half blocks, but this part just makes sense to kind of do like this. I just don't want to use vertex snap because I don't like the ugly numbers. That's worse than doing 0.25, in my opinion. And then this also has nice numbers with the pivots. All right, so that's the seat. Maybe I'll move this slightly so it's more centered. Okay. So these seats, the dimensions are pretty consistent with this fold-up seat. So that's good. And we've got some handrail straps coming down. I really don't like doing handrails because they're so tedious. What if I just don't? Okay. Well, let's just give this a break, and then we'll do window 1 first. Oops. Yeah, see, when I duplicated these, all the numbers changed. That's really annoying. Oh well. Okay, so how this works is that even the floor directly is way up here. So I could just make a big cube. I'll probably just do that. So these seats, turn the seats back on because they're a good frame of reference. These seats are 5 blocks, 5 from the surface of the seat, not the bottom of the seat. The surface of the seat is 5 above the ground, and I think I'll want to make this 6. Yeah. We don't need window 2 anymore. So I'll make that 6, and also wait. 56 is the size. Okay, so this floor needs to change. And as we mentioned, we will make the box, the floor 6. And then, since the seats are 14 blocks, we'll need to do it like this. I'm making it 15 because the wall is 1. And technically the wall can also go up, so there's no overlap there. So that's this block right here. I'm just assuming that the chairs come down exactly, which I know they don't. Let's see if I have a better picture. But it's like really close, so. And then we have this middle part right there. Where's that picture I was looking at earlier? Oh, this is a good picture. It's indented by, let's say, 2 blocks. Okay, duplicate that. This needs to go straight down the middle. And then we'll go 2 down, and then 2 over. So this would be the middle floor. Yeah, and then one more. Wait. Oh, yeah. I was confused, like, this is 7, but the reality is because the floor goes down from the ground level 1 unit. So, this should be 2, actually. Like that. And so this comes out like that. These are all 2 units, so it's pretty easy to work with. Yeah. And the reason that this part needs to come down all the way is because the bottom of the vehicle is textured, the bottom of the train. Or I can do like this. So 2 blocks on all the extrusions. I mean, that's close enough. It's not perfect. But we work with the resolution that we have. Can't find that picture we were using earlier. Was it this picture? I guess I still don't have a good picture of how the floor is like right here, but I think we have it pretty close, so I'm gonna call that good for now. And then the rest of it is just the chairs, the panels, and the handrails. I don't want to do the panels right now either. Yeah. Okay, that's window 1. And window 1 actually also includes the cab. And one more thing too, these should be flipped to the other side. So I think I'll make this because there's a label here. Yeah. So the rest of these I'm going to flip over after I've generated the textures. So then I can just do a mirror. So a mirror would be this button, mirror UV. All right. And then we have the back wall as well. This picture looks fake. I think it's just a computer image. Okay, so all we have to do for the back, I think literally just a flat piece would be good enough for the back. So 28 should be where the pivot is. And since this is an interior part, we don't really have to worry about the outside. Okay, just make sure it covers every little bit, and that would be good. So this will be a big piece because the texture can't just be flipped. All right. That's window 1 done, actually. Window 2 and seat. Maybe what I'll do with this video is that I'll just sketch out the basic parts, texture it out, and then add the details like the handrails and the panels afterwards off screen so that you can still get a general idea of how I piece the train together and put it in the resource pack creator. I think that's the best course of action. And I might split this video into 2 parts as well, because it's already been an hour and a half of recording, and I just don't want to upload too much at once. I'd rather do 2 separate videos. Okay, so what does the next part look like? So basically all we have left is, let's take a look at the big picture. So we've done the interior of this part, we've done the interior, so interior and exterior of this section. Here as well, actually. So this all the way to here, this part is completed. We still have to do this bicycle section and then the car connection, which is really easy, this part, I feel like. And then the cabs. The cabs will be the hardest part to model. But other than that, we're making pretty good progress. I would say about 50% done with modeling. So that's promising. Maybe I'll do one more. I'll do the bicycle part and take a break from there. Okay, so duplicate this, Windows 3. And I'll delete these because I don't need it. Do I have a good picture? The bicycle part here. This is the bicycle rack. I can just make this a flat texture. And then the other side just has 2 seats. There's a security officer here. And oh yeah, I remember back in COVID, they would close this seating area by the driver's cab so that the driver can get in and out of the train easily. Okay, so this part is actually really simple. And maybe the most challenging part is to make the car connection portion and then the end part here. Yeah, so if I'm not doing anything with this bicycle part and I'm going to reuse the chairs over here, I feel like I should make 2 separate seats. Just a seat handrail. So I can combine these in different ways because these seats at the bicycle section don't have the handrail. So since this is a 40, wait, is this 40 units? No, it's not. 16, this is 16. So since the chairs are 14, ooh, is there a bit of an issue here? Might have a little bit of trouble here. Because what I'm thinking is because the seats are 14 and the pull of the door comes over 2 blocks, and we need at least 2 units here for the car connection. So this means I have to make this into 18. So we'll just adjust the numbers and pretend that it works out. Because, yeah, we'll have to make these adjustments just to fit the seat in. Alright. So 18 instead. Okay, cool. I think window 5 is also the same problem. Alright. Problem solved. Now, we're working on window 3. Okay. Cool. So the seats will go right here. 14 with 2 units on each side. And then for the car connection, this is kind of interesting because this comes out maybe, I would say, 4 units out from the seats. And then this actually has a little bit of a diagonal this way. Maybe I can just cheat and make this a straight line, but it might be a bit obvious. Okay, let's just make some placeholder pieces first. So the white part is definitely straight up and down, but the blue part is what's diagonal. So I estimate maybe about 6. Oh, we already have 6 here. Cool. So if I just make a big piece here, and then this is about 8, but that doesn't give much room for the middle. So that's a problem. So if we reduce this to 5, I think that's pretty good already. Doesn't need to be perfect. We can always adjust the sizes later. I'm like eyeballing everything anyway, so The diagonal goes to about the height of the seat, I think. So if we put the diagonal here, make that 10. Vertex snap this here. Oh yeah, there we go. Maybe even one lower. Yeah. All right. I don't know. What do we think? I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, and then this piece will be the big gentle slope that comes down. I think this is pretty much aligned to the outside curve of the train. So we have this at 3 degrees, so I'm gonna do the same here. So the white part is actually where the roof ends. So maybe I should do this first also. This will help me get a better picture of what I'm doing. So the white part actually comes out a bit. So I don't know if it's 2 units or not, but it looks quite thick. So yeah. And then that goes to the bottom of the roof, I think. Based on there. Oh, this is a good picture. Oh, the roof in here actually comes down lower. That's weird. Okay, so this comes down like 1 or 2 more. Like that. Yeah, I'll say one unit more. And then this can come down. Yeah. Alright. So the blue is not flush as well. Maybe the blue is actually really half a block. Okay, I'll make an exception. Okay, so half blocks. Move this up to here and pull this out. Well, I don't want the... I'll make the position... Oops. I'll make the pivot out 1. So that, yeah, there we go. Oh wow, it comes down pretty much perfectly down to this point, which is what we want. Alright, how does this look? Okay, let me hide the seat and then rename all these parts. Technically, there's no need to rename these parts, but I just like doing it so that I don't get confused later on. I think it's just good practice. Okay, all the parts are renamed, and the other side of this should just be blue as well. Okay. So these are 2 blocks wide. Perfect. This is 18, which means the seats can fit perfectly in the hole. Okay, I'm really happy with this. I'm going to save and duplicate this to the other side to check the shape. Oh, there's actually a smooth curve here. I should probably do that. But overall, the shape of all of this, it looks really accurate, actually. Looks really good. Okay, I'm really happy with this, how this is turning out. So there's one extra piece here. $45 should be okay. Set the pivot to 12. I guess this doesn't matter really because this just smooths it out. So even just a little bit is better than nothing. Is this? Yep, it overlaps. Great. Alright, I'm really happy about how this turned out. Yeah. Okay. Technically, I could use 2 pieces, 30 degrees and 60 degrees, but like that is okay. Since this goes from 45 to -3 anyway, so. You just reset all these pivots. Remember that if you're only rotating on one axis, you can reset the pivot of that axis and it'll be okay. Okay. I'm gonna save this and commit this to GitHub so I don't lose it. And I'm gonna take a break for now, so I'll see you after. Okay, I'm back from lunch and I cooked some really yummy fish. I steamed a whole fish and I did the sauce well and I'm happy about that. So anyway, we're back modeling the S700 light rail train and let's see. I'm just giving myself a refresher because I know that the video is going to be continuous as if I'd never left. So what's remaining is this middle part, which is 52. So window 4, that's going to be window 4. And one more thing as well, these parts will also need to be flipped over because they are non-symmetrical and you can't just rotate this 180. So that's especially important for this car connection part. Same thing with window 1. I think window 2 would be the... Window 2 and 4 would be the only ones that you can symmetrically rotate it 180, but Let's create window 4 first, and then figure out how we're gonna do that. So these will be 52 and negative, let's see, 26. I blank there for a second. And then this part is actually symmetrical, as I mentioned. And actually one thing we could do is to make this end just its own part, so that we don't have to keep copying it like a few times. So I'm gonna take from window 3 and then pull this to here. So we won't need this. Oh, wait. I just realized that... Oh wait, no, I think it works. I think it works. Even though this roof is lower, I think it shouldn't really matter, because we're just looking at the blue and the white. Okay. Okay, so here we go. I think I'm just going to add an extra group. And just group it left and right. And I don't want to just duplicate it because I know that it'll mess up my numbering. So I'm just gonna copy and paste, and that seemed to have worked. Alright, so this one can flip X. And I want to turn the mirroring for the right side instead. Mirroring just matters for the textures, but right now you can't see anything. And maybe it'll also be good to move the whole thing back to the middle. Doesn't really matter really, because just depends on how you position it in the resource pack creator, but I just like doing this. Cool. So this will be the end portion that's standalone. And I think since we already did the flipping here, we might as well do it for the other window as well. So I'm just thinking of my naming conventions. So this side of the train should be left and this side of the train should be right. It really doesn't matter how you want to do it, but that's just a convention I'm gonna stick with, and the right side will be flipped for the UV. So, okay. So adding a group here for left. Oh, right. These groups can't share names, even if they're under different folders. Alright, so this will have to be called window 1 left, and this stuff, basically everything will have to go in except for the driver wall and floor 2 and 3. Okay, so that should be good. So for the right part, we're also gonna have this and transform flip X. Oh, this one I way overshot for some reason. Should be like this. Cool. Okay. Yep, that looks right. Great. Yep, that looks good. And then window 2. Window 2 is actually symmetrical, so this thing can just flip to the other side. So I don't need to copy. And window 3. Actually, thinking about it, this could be made... no, because the windows are different. Yeah, let's just copy it. Yeah. And we also have the bike racks too. That will make it not symmetrical. So basically everything, I think. And okay. I was just thinking about duplicating textures and what that means. But we'll worry about that later when we're doing the texturing. So maybe I don't want to mirror the UV. Even for these parts. But okay. We will figure that out as well later. And the end parts also. No, the end I want it to flip. Okay. So window 4, we have this. This is actually the true symmetrical one for the very middle of the train, right here. And we have a row of seats, which means that we need this block right here. This big block and a row of 7 seats. Now I'm thinking if I should have made the seats singles instead. Okay, never mind. Let's just put in the block first. The seats just seem so low suddenly. I don't know. Okay. Let's check out window 1 again. See if the step is the right height. Because if this seat is up here, yeah, that's right. Okay, let's not worry about that right now. I will put in the blocks first. You can call this seat block or something, but I'll just call it seat. And this is technically 7 blocks, so probably 9 when including the diagonal. Oh, and also I'll make it 12 because there's actually a gap at the back. So 2 blocks here and 1 there. So that's about right. Okay. Still doesn't look right. The seats seem too low. But I'm just basing it off here. Yeah, the seat does seem a bit low. Actually, I'm going to refer to M-train to see how high the bench is. So this is a position of 5 with a height of 1. So if I make this 0, it's actually 6. So why 6? So if I do the same thing here, that means I need to push the seats up one. Yeah. There we go. And the seat handrails will need to go up one. Cool. Okay. That looks more like it, I guess. Let's go back to window 1. No, window 2. And see, this one should go up one more. And this can go... This is size 6 right now. And this seat is 7. That's okay, because imagine this part of the chair folds up, then it'll be only about 6. Okay, that's good enough. And then if we look from the side view, that's pretty much the same. Yep. Cool. Window 2, done. Window 4, also done. By the way, I'm making window 4, this piece a whole block, because when the seats are on top of it and you look over the edge, I want this part still to be textured. And technically we could raise this up like this. I don't know how I feel about that. Let's just do it. It'll save some space on the UV texture map later. Okay, one more thing I almost forgot to do is to lower the roof for this middle part. I have no idea why this design is like this. Maybe it has to do with the air conditioning units up here. But it looks like they lowered it so that it's flush with the end white piece. So the end white piece is here. And I am thinking that it's just 1. Yeah, it's 1 lower. So this is as simple as lowering this. If we have any pivot points, we have to remember to lower that as well. That's why I don't want to just select all and lower it, because the pivot points need to be lowered as well. And I don't want the pivot points that's originally 0 to be lowered also. And so technically this wall can also be lowered. Alright, so that's window 4. I'm gonna say that's done for now, because I'm gonna do the handrails and other details later. For now, I'm going to... So we're done for the inside. Are we? If so, that is pretty exciting. Maybe just... I'll make a cube for the lights. Yeah, so the lights will be right here. Here and here. So I'm gonna copy that, add a group called light, and make this just something nice like 32. Because this will just be literally a solid white piece, it doesn't really matter how we stack it. So make this 38.1, just a little bit higher than the roof piece. This is another exception that I make for myself for non-integer sizing or positioning. So, yep, that's going to be where the light is. Okay, what else are we missing? It's the cab left then, I suppose. The bogies, I'm just gonna reuse the existing kind. And just looking at the picture, I think that the first bogey doesn't have the diagonal part. Or it's just shortened. And then this part just doesn't have it at all, right? Gotta check the picture. Yeah, this middle part doesn't have the diagonal at all. So that's going to be window 4 exterior. So window 4 exterior doesn't have this. Delete. And window 1. Yeah, there's such a big gap. I don't know why. Window 1. The floor portion is shortened to like this. Or it's on both sides too. It doesn't show it in this picture, but I'm assuming that it's on both sides. I'm just gonna draw it like that. So this looks like, so the door is 12. Looks like about just 6. I'm just gonna do 6. So I'm gonna duplicate these pieces. And just like that. Okay, floor 1, floor 2. And we need to copy window exterior 1 to window exterior 7 as well. So delete the floor and paste that in. Perfect. Okay, now we have the bottom pieces sorted out. Okay, now it's finally time for the cab, the part that I always want to avoid because it's the hardest thing to do. Okay, here we go. I remember last time when I made a video about me modeling, I was doing the London Underground D78 D-stock. And the head was much easier because it's pretty flat. Actually, this one is not too bad as well. I think I'll just make the side profile first, like this side shape, and then slowly curve the edges. That's my strategy. And then we got a good top view as well of the angles. So just combining both of those together, we should be able to get a pretty accurate like model of how this is supposed to look. Okay, let's get started. No more stalling. So I can just no, I can't. I was just gonna say maybe I can tag it on to window exterior, but no. Because window exterior 1 and 7 will go together. Actually, I could just make it all together. Now that I think about it. I could just make 1 and 7 just reflections of each other. That's probably the best thing to do. And I have no idea why I separated roof and top, but it doesn't matter. Okay, let's just do it, because I think that's a good idea. So I'm gonna add a group. For the right side, this will essentially be what was in 7. And then flip X, just like that. And I don't want to mirror the UV just yet. 7 can be deleted. Yeah, so this is the exterior one. Cool. Let me do that for window. And window 2 goes with window 5. So window 5, the pieces will go in here. Flip X. Oh! That was the wrong one. Window 6 should be. So that should go into window 3. Like that, and then Windows 6 here. There we go. Okay. So that should be the left. So turn off to, yeah, there we go. And then 4 should just be flipped on itself. So I'm not gonna flip it in Blockbench. Cool, so if we want to do the head, we can tag it on window exterior 1 now. Because this is the inside, and this exterior will be the outside. Yep. I just call this head, and then we can go from there. I don't think I did any measurements. Oh, I did. 23. 23 is to the end right there. So I'm going to put a placeholder block first. So I need to get this right, so 23. This is 23. Yep. And then that would be the front of the train. So there's plenty of pictures of the front of the train, but I'm going to refer to this diagram first. So the front comes up maybe about 3, 2 or like 3 above this bottom line. Wait, maybe I should actually just measure it on the picture. That's the most accurate. Something like that. So 67. 67 divided by the multiplier would be 10.5. So, let's do 11. 11 because this can go down a little more. Okay, so this is a placeholder cube. So for this, I'm going to make this 11. So that's where the wall Yeah, this bottom part comes out too. Although this whole piece is flat, actually. So maybe actually what I'll do is make this. Make the very front piece first. And I think that there is a bump here. This is about one unit. And this goes down maybe like 3 units from the bottom. Okay. Okay. As I mentioned, I'm gonna do the side profile first. So I'll go a little bit and then curve and then the main window. Oh, so many curves. Oh, these images are just interior. So yeah, there is a bump right here. And then it goes smoothly up. Let's see, we have... Don't know how much that actually is. Just gonna assume it's about 6. Okay, anyway, I'm just gonna start doing stuff because I can adjust these numbers later. Oh. Rotation X. Yeah. If that's about 10 degrees. It's gonna be a lot of curved pieces, and I don't really want to use messy pivot points either. Well, that's a pretty nice connection there. But it's more than 40 degrees though. More like 60, I would say. This picture actually doesn't show it very well. So I'm referring off of real pictures rather than that diagram at this point. I might also have taken some pictures of the outside, like more close-up pictures. Oh yeah, when the cars are connected, this front panel lifts up and the connection, like that exposes the connection. And I don't know if I'm gonna model that. We'll see. Yeah, I don't have good pictures of a close-up of the front. And it looks like the window is actually indented here. So if I really didn't bother with this bump, I could just make the whole windscreen just flush with the rest of the curve. That would be definitely the easiest. And kind of use some texturing shadows to make it feel like it's 3D, but it's not. So that's one option. So if I did do that, then this will more closely follow this picture. I think 20 degrees is still too steep for that. Maybe 10 is even too steep for here. That's more like it. Okay, doesn't matter about the pivot. We'll just make the shape first. I guess the best strategy is just to kind of sketch out the curve, essentially. Before I try to perfect it. Okay, so at the end of the windscreen, I would want to make this part of the roof instead. So maybe something like this first, and then this can join here. This isn't that steep, so 10 first. Well, I feel like I am wait, why are these not lined up properly? Specifically this piece. Why is it 49.93? That's weird. Okay, I'll snap this again. $20 degrees. And if I do, I don't know, 60? Is that too much? Until this meets here. I mean, for a first draft, that curve looks pretty good. Maybe I should be looking at it on this side so that it's not flipped around. Just comparing it side by side. Yep. Okay. I think this should go up a little more. And then this should snap here. Oh. Resize. No, that doesn't look right. This needs to come out more. Okay, that looks better. That looks better. And yeah, that looks better. Again, I'm just trying to get the approximate shape right now. So this can, if that went down a little bit. Don't know if 10 degrees is too much, because this is 5. What if the whole thing was just 5 degrees? Or -6? And then this can be -3. Yeah? No, that seems too little. Okay, what about this? Yep. Okay, I think I'll call this good. Yeah. I don't want to do too much here. Okay, so for the top view, we have a flat bit here. So that's size 8. So I change that to 12. Change all these to 12, I guess. And I'll just do the left side first. And then rotate this about the y-axis this time. About 10 degrees is good. Okay. For the end, actually, I'm noticing that the walls can come out some more. Before we curve. And then the reason I'm making these 1 block thick, or at least in the front, is because the piece sticks out on the train. Okay, so if I rotate this a little bit, 10 degrees, I think that's pretty accurate from here. I can actually also measure this. So it's a little bit less than 10. 8 degrees. So something like that, and then I'll just put one more cube over here. Oops. If I do 45, then this will have to come out a little bit. Like that? Cool. Let's take a look at the shape. Yep, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now we just have to round out all of this, and that would be good. Okay, so that's this piece. And we're gonna have 2 rotations on this piece. All right. If we're just doing it like this, then it should be pretty simple. Although things are not always as simple as they seem. So this pivot should definitely be here. Wait, no. Here. Okay. And then this is 4 degrees. And this already has 10 degrees, so double rotation like that. Nice. And this piece we actually have an ugly pivot point. All of these actually have nice pivot points. Except this one. But that's understandable. Let's do this first. Size 0. And this is 6 degrees. Oh no, 4 degrees. This is 3 degrees, so I'm just gonna do 4. Let's snap this again. Make sure the pivot's at the right spot, and then move that. Okay, this has to slice through both pieces for it to look right. Okay, so if you notice here, there's actually a hole. So that needs to be patched up like that. So then this would be our bracket. It'll make more sense when I start texturing. But yeah, so this can be reduced down to this point. And then this can... Oh, I want to duplicate this piece instead. Where's the pivot for this? Or what if I just set the pivot to here? Now this is 10 and -8 for here. Cool. Yeah, it's coming together. I think the shape is also looking good. So I'm doing -8 for this front window. Which is kind of, if we average it out, I guess. Maybe I should just do 10. And then this can stay at 4 is okay. So if I did try to make this a nice pivot, what would that look like? So I would probably set the pivot at this point or something. And then position 21, 51. Now there's a crack, so I need to extend this down like that. So these are all nice pivots now. Does the top look right? Kinda does. Yeah, it's good enough. What if I made that 15? Okay. That looks good too, so I'll keep it at that. And then this, I'm going to move the pivot back to where this pivot was. Or right here. And if I snap this to here, theoretically that should work. This is at 51 though. I don't know. This is so complicated. Oh, that pivot is over there. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just messing with the pivots. And this doesn't look right. So the intersection point is now right there. Because this piece is just sticking out like this. Oh, it's because this is -8. It should be 10. Now the pieces are lining up like that. Nice. Cool. It's coming together. And I think this will not have nice pivot points, but that's okay. because I want the front to line up like that. And then this pivot point should be equal to that one. -4 down here and -10 up here. The side is only only 3. So we'll see how these will join together. Oh, I think I got the right position there. Pull this up and over until it totally cuts this piece. Okay, it's kind of hard to see how this will look like until we texture it, but we just gotta trust that this works. Okay, and then here I'll probably line this piece up with this. Something like that. Yep. I guess this head isn't too hard. It's pretty simple curves. Just piece together. And as for down here, this curves back underneath. So, wait a minute. Oh. So there's 2 curves like that. Yeah, there's a slight slope you can see. And then this, I probably can get away with just dragging this down. Duplicate that. And then resizing, because I don't need the thickness for this piece anymore. So vertex snap here, and it's probably a small angle, so a little more than 10. Yeah, so we don't need this placeholder piece anymore. Okay, duplicate this, and I think the pivot is right. -20, yep. Resize, and then extend this until that intersects. Yep, okay. So actually, if I make this rotation only 10, then we could try to do a smoother transition this way. It's a bit harder to work with, but the effect is better, I think. So this I'll extend. And duplicate this. This is a 45 degree. So actually doing both rotations together might make it look weird, as you can see. So that might be an issue for us. Let's undo this one. And we'll flip this 17 and 0. So we'll rotate Y. Wait a second. Yeah, so this will be oriented a little bit differently now. And instead we'll do 45 this way. Because the order of rotations actually matter, that's why I have to be careful about how I rotate these pieces. It's like the X rotation happens before the Y, before the Z. So the order which you apply the rotations actually change the positioning of the cube. So what I did here will line up with everything else. Okay. Let's keep going. And I'll move this down. And then pivot this 45. This looks a little bit, it looks okay. Yeah. I think that actually does line up pretty well. But these are not 45, or these have an angle to them. So I do want to line up the pivot point actually still to this spot. Or no, actually to 0. 0 and lined up with here. Okay, like that. $45 and resize this. So now the bottom is lined up. But since this has a slope to it, I might have to push this pivot point back like that, but this comes up here. That's not ideal. Because I would prefer the line break to be right there, so I just adjust this a little bit. I think 15 is like the sweet spot. Oh wait, this is already 20. Okay, let's just try it and texture it, and then we can always change it if needed. Okay, I want to keep that pivot point, so I'm gonna slide this over. Yep. That's weird. Because I don't know where these two pieces overlap. Like here. Okay, that piece doesn't actually need to have a thickness. And if we look from the back, see how there's this weird shape when this lines up? That's because these angles are different. So if we do pull this to 20, no. 16? 17 might be the sweet spot here. So this... because I want to minimize this angle too, right here. Oh wait, but does that have a thickness? It does. If this is pretty complicated, like you don't know what I'm doing right now, that's okay. I'm essentially trying to get the overlaps to look better. 16 maybe. 16 might be the good middle ground. But again, texturing can make all the difference. So this is a very minor detail that I think I shouldn't spend too much time on. So that's the front curve for the bottom. And I should probably make a little floor as well. Because the window interior only goes up to here. So if you're looking up from the bottom, then you will see a hole. And we don't want that. So I'm gonna copy this and put the floor here. Oops. Floor. Yep, 42. And then here. Yep, that's a perfect size for that. And actually, yeah, I guess this is the advantage of having these be 1 block thick, is that you can cover the edge of the floor pretty well. So maybe this piece I'll also... Nah, doesn't matter. Okay, cool. That's gonna be the floor, and we need a driver wall as well. I'm gonna pull that up all the way to the top. And extend this. Okay. Now let's turn off window 1. All right. So as we did on the other side, this was extended by 2. And I think, let me do the top first, because the top's also not easy. So for starters, extending these a little more. So as we did for these pieces down here, if we want to have both a sideways rotation and a vertical rotation, then we're going to have to make a piece like this, where we will rotate oh, what happened? Oh, it has a slope to it, that's why. Okay, so yeah, we have to rotate this so the front of the front side is facing out like that. I'm probably not explaining this very well. And let's reset the rotation X. And so this is a size of 3 with a rotation of 50 degrees. And this is -8, and that's 50, so that's good. And I can't really tell... Oh, this is a good picture. So the curve does curve down a little bit. So that works. Something like that, and then I'm gonna set this pivot to right there. $20 degrees. Okay. That's how that piece will join with the rest. And actually, this piece can also be extended. And it seems like this is a smooth surface. So if I extend this up and pull this out, no, I'll have to pull this way. Looks a little weird, but this will be where the piece cuts off and joins here. Okay. Yeah. These can actually be extended as well, although I might need to extend these to cover the hole though. Ah, so complicated. Okay, maybe I'll just skip out on this middle. So just directly pull this up like that. Okay, that's symmetrical. Pull this out as well. All right. We're getting so close. We just need to patch up this hole and we'll have the modeling done. I don't want to just keep dragging pieces out, but I want to make one more piece right here to smooth it all out. So probably duplicate this. And then, yeah, what kind of rotation should we do here? I feel like this is just the final piece to patch it all up. So before I do that rotation, actually, I would want to move the pivot over a little bit. right about there. So when I pivot, it would be a nicer shape. And then we will also want to cover up all the remaining holes. Might be easier to look at it from the inside too. I'll just drag this out really big so that I can really see what I'm working with. So that looks weird. Push the pivot. No. This way. Let's see. That looks better. But it kind of cuts this area a bit weird. Yeah, something like that. I think it's fine. I don't know. If I don't focus on that piece too much, the curve overall looks okay. So oh, is this pivot like perfectly right there? So just shrinking this piece so that everything's covered up. Okay, I think that is right. Okay, that's good to me. That looks good to me. Look how many pieces I have. Okay, now it's time to rename all the parts. I can probably do this off camera too. Okay, I've renamed everything nicely and now I can... Oh, I don't want to duplicate, remember? I just want to copy. And then I'm gonna flip these over to the other side. Turn off the mirror. Actually, I can do mirror for the head stuff. That'll be okay. All right. Oh, I see a hole. That's because I didn't extend this piece. Yeah, okay. Cool. Everything looks good to me. Alright. I'm going to save my work and wrap up this part. So in part 1, I'm going to make this about modeling. So we've successfully created the S700 model. And then in the next episode, in the next part, we will work on the texturing. And then after that, we will put it in the resource pack creator and see it in game. So thank you so much for watching. I know these are long videos, but hopefully you've learned something from this. And I'll see you next time. Bye.